Welcome back to The Verse. My name is Nathan Smith, and on this episode, I interview and collaborate with an extremely talented guitarist friend of mine, Chris Houp. Chris is a versatile jazz musician at CCM who has amazing goals for after his graduation this year. I hope you enjoy. Wherever you are watching or listening, make sure to subscribe for more. Welcome back to The Verse. My name is Nathan Smith, and today I have a very special guest, my friend, an insanely talented guitarist, Chris Houp. Chris, how's it going?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks for coming. I'm looking forward to talking music and playing a little bit with you later on.
Indeed.
So just starting off, tell me, what's your major here at CCM, and how did you get here? What's your background look like?
Yeah, so I am a jazz studies major. I'm in my fourth year, senior. Woo! and I came from Kentucky, and my mom was a classical pianist, and so she kind of just like forced us all to play, and so that kind of spurred it on, and eventually I picked up the guitar, and I think I'm thankful I had a really guitar teacher, so excuse my language. He was really mean, and it like motivated me to be better, and like that kind of like spiraled me on, and then like I think I just played more, you know. I'm really thankful for him being a jerk, really. But yeah, I've been playing for like 6 or 7 years now. Actually, there's probably more than that. I just don't really remember. I was on and off, played a few other instruments here and there, but when it came down to like getting serious, I chose the guitar.
Well, that's really interesting to hear because people always take different paths, and it's really cool to see how somebody who was like just a terrible impact on your life, it really motivated you to just be better all the time. And now you're here at a great conservatory and a great jazz program, so it's amazing to see. So when did you realize that you wanted to pursue music for your career?
This sounds funny, but I was at a piano recital. I was playing it, and I played the Pink Panther theme. Don't get copyright infringement. But yeah, I played it, and I felt like a BA after that. I felt really cool for some reason. I think I was like 12 or 13, and that kind of was like, wow, I can really do this. You know, I can play, and people clap. Like, obviously, it was a situation where people were going to clap, even if I flipped the piano over. You know what I mean? Like, we're conditioned. But, like, I don't know. I think that was kind of like a moment I was like, wow, this is fun. This is cool. I like people enjoy this. I enjoy it, you know. And it's fun to jam with people. You know, you meet all different types of personalities and musicians, and it's not even like you have a personality, but like then you jam with somebody and it's a completely different, you know, like you have, it's like it's fingerprints, you know, you jam with different people, you see like what they are, how they play, and sometimes it's like lasting, and sometimes you're like, I never want to play with this person again, you know, and it just depends. But yeah, to get back to the question, I was like probably like 13 or something like that, and I thought I could do it. And my parents supported me, which was really nice. They didn't shoot me down immediately. My mom was a pianist, like I said, so music was in the family, and like the idea of me going to music school wasn't like out of the picture, you know. It wasn't like, oh, you need to be this. They were very free and like letting us decide what we wanted to do, you know. But I kind of did, not to tangent, but I went a roundabout way of doing it. Like when I came into school, this is going to blow your mind, but I came in as a worship and church music. Like I was very religious, and I wanted to play music in church. And it's funny enough, I went to a Christian school, and that like sort of changed my whole view of life and what I wanted to do. And I dropped out, and then I came here because I really realized I wanted to study good music. No offense, good music, you know, like that's just... And so, yeah, like you can do roundabout ways of doing it. I always encourage any musician on any level, even if it's like I work with this 50-year-old dishwasher, and he's always like, man, I want to pick up the banjo. And I'm like, do it, man, do it. Like, I'll support you. Like, I'll do whatever you need to do to be like, you know, like you always got to encourage, because you can be that jerk guitar teacher that I that I experienced. You don't want to be that person, you know.
So what made you choose CCM over all other music schools or conservatories?
Yeah, so when I was in school the first time, it was mostly out of a decision of like, because I wanted to go into something religious. So I went to a school that was religious. And when I was in the music program, it kind of pushed me that like I realized I was a big fish in a little pond, and I wanted to be really, really challenged. And so I took time off and sort of looked around, and I wanted New York University, like places that like were a dream. And obviously, like, don't say don't go there, but go there. But like I decided this place was close, great programs, and it's a great school, and it was just kind of like a no-brainer. We took a visit up here, and I was like, I could dig this, It's a very nice city. I live south of here, like 2 hours, so it's not that far for me and to see my family. So it was kind of like it was like a convenience, but also like happenstantial. They had a great music school here, So it was just like I applied here only. Like when I took time off, I applied here, and I was like, I'm getting into CCM. Like if I don't get in, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not doing anything as a musician. This was kind of like the culmination at that point in my life. So I was like, all right. And then I got in, and I cried. And then I was like, excuse me. Yes. I'm really excited. And yeah, so that's it.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a great place with so many opportunities. So that leads me to my next question. What opportunities have you gained by choosing CCM?
I think the camaraderie, like in the jazz dungeon, there's not because this past semester due to COVID and things like that, but like when I first got here, like people, you were jamming in a practice room, or you were practicing in a practice room, someone would kick the door open and be like, you want to go jam? Or like, hey, I got a gig, I got an idea, or like, I got this song, do you want to come? Like, it was very much this kind of open door kind of policy sort of, and I just feel as if I really connected through a lot of musicians, and like not a ton of gigs rolled my way because of CCM, but like meeting people led to gigs sort of, like it just depends on what you're looking at, if it's the jazz department or if it's the classical, what you want. But I feel like there's been a lot of opportunities to, sometimes I just didn't do them, but like, in the middle of the semester when people are on the campus, you could walk around, be downstairs, and there's a concert going on, like there's so much music happening that's just awesome. It's like when that last campus, the last school I went to, you'd walk around the music department. It's like drab and dreary and like gross. And there's like 6 practice rooms. And here it's just like, it's gorgeous, like, I mean, it is in a wind tunnel kind of, but yeah, it's a great school. It's a great opportunities too.
Absolutely. So outside of jazz, what kind of music are you listening to right now?
Well, honestly, it sounds really bad, but not really bad, because there's no bad music, I guess. I've been constantly listening to Donald Glover, Childish Gambino's Because of the Internet. I love that album. I think it's his best album. I've been listening to that like kind of nonstop. Like I listen to it all. I think I listen to it once every day. Like I do that mostly with like really good, or what I think are really good records. Like I have a playlist. I'll listen to a bunch, but there'll be like 2 artists that I'm like really diving into, I like everything. I'm not like, I like from Willie Nelson to Kid Cudi, you know what I mean? Like the range, it doesn't matter for me. I also will clarify, I am a jazz major, but I do not love all jazz. So I'll just leave that out there to any haters,
I mean, that's fair to say. I think a lot of jazz can, like for me, not being a jazz major, but still being able to listen to a lot of jazz, it can really be somewhat like more standard and a little more simple, maybe like some, I guess, Brubeck stuff, but it can also be super out there.
Oh yeah.
So there's definitely such a wide range that fits into jazz. And
like it has its niche. Like you mentioned Brubeck, he's a fantastic piano. Crazy story about him. Not to divert, but he made Brubeck made his saxophone player, who I'm blanking on the name now. He signed a non-disclosure that he couldn't play with any piano player on recording. So if you find Gary Mulligan, I think, is his name. I'm probably wrong. But if you find records of him playing live, he always has a guitar player. So because of that, he gave light to a couple guitar players that wouldn't have like that type of career because not to get divisional, but piano is the king of the rhythm instruments in jazz, you know, because we're just guitar players. We don't do anything. We just jerk around, you know. We're just like, well, let's play AC/DC, you know, and like everyone's like more cultured, you know. I don't even know how to read music. I've just been pretending. No, I'm kidding. But
yeah, so what kind of musicians, who are some musicians that really influence your playing? It could be in jazz, it could be outside of jazz. Just name a couple.
Yeah. I think, do you know Brittany Howard of Alabama Shakes?
I have heard of Alabama Shakes.
Yeah, she is insanely talented, and she came out with a record called Jamie 2019, and amazing. I think she is phenomenal. Like, she is truly more of a modern influence. I'm trying to think. You know when you get put on the spot and you can't think of anything? That's where I'm at right now. No, I mean, everyone, there's like classics. Like, I think on the jazz side, like Vince Giraldi, like he is so good. You know, he writing all those Peanuts themes, and there's so much good stuff that he's come out with. He's a great influence. Donald Glover, not to bring him back up, but Childish Gambino's an influence. You know, like there's just kind of all over. When I was in high school, I was really into metal. Like, I'd go to metal shows and like hardcore shows, get punched in the face. Like that was like my thing for like a while. So I dipped my toes in quite a few genres for a long while. But you know, I don't care. Like, early metal bands were an influence on me, but like now, it's just kind of what sounds good. That's what I've just sort of, like, I don't care about the artist. Like, are you writing good melodies? Are you writing songs that, like, I can tap my toe to, you know? Because how many songs do you get 15 seconds in, you hit skip, you know? And it's like, that artist could have 50 albums, but I don't care because I couldn't even listen to the first 15 seconds of this one song. So it's like, I don't know. I kind of strive for, not to sound weird, but what just sounds good.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, I completely get that. Like, like you mentioned, like how many artists will just kind of skip right through. I've definitely had a lot of those experiences where they might have like a ton of amazing songs, but they really got to capture you with something really good. And if it just doesn't appeal to us, then why stick with it? You know?
I mean, like you can get in your little corners and be like, why do you listen to that music? Or why do you listen to that music? You know, like I work at a restaurant on the west side, and a lot of the music that's played is just like pop, you know, like what's on the radio, and some hits. And it's just funny, like when the songs come on and the songs people react to, you know, it's like Usher's Yeah comes on, and everyone's like, woo! You know, every white person in America loses their mind. You know, so that's something that I've learned to appreciate is like not to write off, you know, what is popular. Because I think a lot of times you musicians are people who have taste. And I say that like not in a jerk way, but, you know, just have that, you know, have specific tastes. And it's like a lot of times we can just write off, be like, well, who cares, whatever's playing on the radio. But there's so much, I don't know, good some good stuff. Great melodies out there. I mean, it's like all 1-4-5-1 or some of that nature, but I mean, it's good. You know, like I can't think of anything. I'm not going to reference Ed Sheeran. I still think he's terrible, but not to call anyone out. But
hey, I mean, everyone has their preference.
Yeah, you're right.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
So, what kind of music are you working on right now in guitar?
So I'm in a composition class, and we've been mostly just that kind of stuff, a lot of school stuff. It's hard to really break, especially in my senior year. It's kind of been hard to like put time into my own stuff because there's so much. I have my recital, and then I have the pieces that I'm working on with my ensembles, and then you know, then I have the music I'm listening to and the stuff that I want to play, and it's like a lot of times that gets overwhelmed by like, you know, learning things in 12 keys because that's what you have to do. But, like, I don't know. Right now I'm trying to work on other things, like other instruments while I'm recording. Because like a lot of my go-to, I mean, like same setup, I'll plug in and I'll like record track after track just playing guitar and like affecting it in a way to get a sound. But like, I don't know, I'm not a great piano player. I've been trying to like really not suck, you know, because it's like, you know, there's so much is important, like being a versatile musician. You know, I could play bass, don't get me wrong, and my other instrument was drums, but I don't have a drum set, unfortunately. But like I've been trying to like mess with this thing, like the computer. There's so much involved, like synths and things. Like, you know, I'll start a track and spend half of the day just like picking out the sound of the drum set. You know what I mean? Like I can get just so lost with just like, oh, that snare sounds really no, but that's a cool sample. You know what I mean? Like I feel as if I'm constantly a student of whatever's put in front of me, you know, especially with production. I'm a new baby sheep to it. You know, this whole world is like already, everyone's recording everything, and I'm just like, how do you hit play? You know, like feel kind of behind the times. But I should be hopefully posting. I've been working on an EP for like, you know, 4 years, and it's just I just take forever for one song. Like I can't be done with it. Like I go back, and it might be obsessive, and I might at some point just need to like put it out. But it's like 4 songs, which it sounds pretty insane that it's taken me 4 years to get like 4 songs out there. But I'd like to finish it by like the end of this year, because I've been saying that I think for a while, and it's just like you put it on the back burner and you keep putting it on the back burner, you know, like life gets ahead of you. So hopefully that will come out, and when that does, I'll drop it and I'll send it to you and be like, hey, I actually came out. This came out. Just took me a decade, you know?
I'm looking forward to it then.
Yeah, man.
You know, I'd also love to hear a guitar solo. So would you like to play a solo for us?
Yeah. I'm going to play a rendition of Ponciana. I don't know who wrote it. It's a nice jazz tune.
All right, well, I'm looking forward to it. So we'll cut to that, and we'll see you in just a bit. Well, that was just a fantastic rendition, Chris. I really enjoyed hearing that. So thank you for performing.
You're totally welcome, man. My pleasure.
Well, so, I'd love to talk about what you're going to be doing after graduation, because that is coming up pretty soon, isn't it?
It is. It is. That's a good question. So as of now, my girlfriend and I, hopefully when I graduate, I say hopefully like it's not going to happen. When I graduate, hopefully I'll put a ring on that finger. I'm kind of in the process of that right now.
Okay.
Not to give it anything away. But I would like to move back kind of close to home. I feel like I need to like reconnect for a little bit. But obviously get engaged, get a place, hopefully get married. But, it's pretty crazy these days. So I don't know. But, yeah, and then I've been working in restaurants and cooking for like 4 years, 5 years now, pretty consistently. So there's a couple places that are owned by some chefs in my not hometown, but close to my hometown that are nice. And I'm going to try to apply for those and then start just hustling music on the side. Because, right now it's not the best time for musicians. It's tough. And I understand, like, in a music program and getting a music degree, like, we expect that it's not going to be easy. So it's nice to know that I have something else kind of to fall back on for the time being until, more the ability to go live and be in public more, that opens up. But hopefully getting married, getting hitched, and moving away. Cincinnati's been cool, but I'm kind of ready to move on, Good city, good times. Yeah, that's it,
Yeah, so talking about a little bit about what you said, how right now is kind of a very difficult time for musicians. I'd like to talk about how has the pandemic impacted your music?
I don't think it's really impacted. I think it's made me it's kind of been like a reason to get off my butt, because it's like, at least early on, you saw everyone was kind of releasing stuff and like, I don't know, like putting out content, because there was a time when things couldn't be made for us to consume, so we either have to make them. That's why I think, TikTok blew up, because we get to make it, but like, I don't think it's affected my music. I think it's like affected how I feel, but like in the future, but I don't know. That's the thing. Like, I feel as if, who knows if the normal will be the new normal, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, but it hasn't affected me at all. Like, I kept on working at my job. Like, COVID has been very nice. Like, I haven't had anything tragic. It's been pretty nice, not gonna lie, having online classes. It made things a lot easier. Love CCM, but I don't love paying for your parking passes. So if you could make them cheaper, I would appreciate that. But no, I think mostly from the pandemic, it's taught me that I do love to play video games too much. It's something that I realized, like, when it started, that I was like, well, I've got more free time. I'll just game a little bit more. And that gaming turned into every night, like, I think that's one thing that I should work on is not gaming.
So when we're out of the pandemic, what are some plans that you have for music?
Yeah, I'd like to. I have played in a couple groups, but things fizzle out over time. But I'd love to start a group and just play. Whether it be original or cover material, I'm not a picky person. I just enjoy the camaraderie that brings. I'd like to be more involved in the music scene. That's just something that I think everyone kind of wants, low key. Like, to be a part of it, but more specifically, just kind of start to develop my own voice, because it's like now I keep on hearing this, and like teachers will be like, oh, college is the time of your life to like be practicing, because you're not going to have any free time after college. And I kept on feeling like that's a wrong way of going about it, because like, yeah, you've got some free time with college, but most college students have a job, and most college students, if not have a job, have something else like preoccupying a majority of their time. And it's like, a teacher once said to me out of the blue, he was like, once you get out of here, that's when you're going to be working the most. That's when you're going to be working on things you want to work on, you know, like you'll start to dive into topics and ideas and discover your voice more so outside of a music school. And that's something that I am going to chase after is, you know, you learn repertoire of great people and you utilize that repertoire, but then it's eventually time for you to be like, all right, I'm going to develop my own voice. I'm going to develop my own ideas now. You know, like you absorb it and it's time to, you know, give it on. Not to sound weird, but
So I'd like to talk about how you mentioned like the camaraderie of playing with people.
yeah.
So, and you also mentioned before the pandemic playing with some gigs and like how CCM or just being in Cincinnati has allowed you to perform some gigs. So I'd love to hear, do you have an interesting or maybe a funny gig story for me?
Funny gig story. Does it count if it's not in Cincinnati?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Hold on. I'm trying to think. Well, one time I played with a band. I played guitar with them. And we asked to be paid after our set. And there's two other, but we were like the opening band, you know, no one knew us. So we asked to be paid really minimal, like very minimal, like if like a 2% of the door fee, you know, because that's how places like to do it. But I remember I was like, all right, let's go get paid. And then we walk up to the guy who pays. He's like, yeah. And then he like disappeared for like 4 hours. And like we just waited. And then like midnight hit and like about the last band was still going, but it was closing up. And it's like, we need to get paid. So I spent like 25 minutes hunting down this man to be paid. I mean, a measly like $100, but I wanted that money, you know. I wanted that very much. And I think that there's another one. I feel like there's one on my tip of my tongue. Though. One time I wasn't even I was at my friend's gig, and my equipment was there, and this dude's guitar just fell and snapped, and he was like, can I use your stuff? And I was like, you can use my stuff if you recognize that you're using my equipment. And he was like, totally. And then halfway through the set, he gave me a shout out for using it, for letting him use it. I was like, I'll take it. You know what I mean? Yeah, I haven't had anything super crazy. I mean, I remember I was playing drums at a church, and you know how every church has like that booth, like those cylinder, you know, they trap a drummer in there if you have claustrophobia. Good luck. But I remember I was like playing, we were getting into it, and like it all concaves on me. Like like the top falls down, the sides go, like it was like a Roadrunner bit. You know what I mean? I think that's like the wildest thing that's happened to me on a stage.
That is pretty wild.
I one time, not to divert, but I was in a choir and we were singing at this church, and on the stage was like carpeted. You know, sometimes they're like really soft carpet. And the vocalist walks up, and she's walking up the steps, and she's like, I think just wearing her like stockings or socks or whatever, and we're all there, you know, ready, able, and she walks and just eats it, eats it, bro, like, boom, like, and we're all standing there like not trying to lose our minds at a church singing about the Lord in some Latin, you know, and I think that was probably the funniest thing I've ever seen. She ate, and you feel so bad for laughing. Not really. I mean, she was kind of mean, but she sort of deserved it. But like, I just remember like, I was like, man, I hope that's never me. Hasn't happened yet, so I might jinx myself here by saying that I haven't fallen on stage yet, but. Yeah, those are some crazy stories.
Those are some pretty funny stories. So I'd love to hear, if everything goes right for music, what does your dream job look like? What's your dream?
Yeah, right. We all have a dream. I would love to open up my own club / kind of restaurant. Because I like hosting people. I like food. I like parties. I enjoy that type of atmosphere. And a lot of places are like restaurants with live music, you know, and like, I don't know, I'd like to kind of have an emphasis on both, like we focus on our musicians as well as we focus on our food type of thing. That would just be a dream, like to start my own place, like, because it's just fun, you know, like I don't know. Every musician that I've ever met, like I've always been like, most of the time I'm like, I would love to see you in later life. You know what I mean? Like whatever, if you're gigging and doing well, I'd love to run across you one day. You know, that's just kind of like a hope I feel like for every musician. And I feel as if I could have a place that could bring them in, you know? Like I know all these people, I can orchestrate it. You know, that's just something that I'd love to do. I like eating, if you couldn't already tell, you know, like I enjoy like some of the pleasures of life, and I'm good at one thing is making food. I'm not good at no, I'm kidding. But just to, you know, that's kind of just, that would be a dream of mine, you know, outside of gigging.
That does sound amazing, and I think that could really gain like a ton of traction, especially in somewhere that has a great music scene where you could call in some great musicians. Like, say it was in Cincinnati. I know you were talking about you might not want to stay in Cincinnati after you graduate, but just say a city similar to Cincinnati where it has an amazing music scene. I could really see that gaining a ton of traction. So that's a really interesting thing.
Yeah. And I like to steal Cincinnati's musicians too, so they don't have them all.
There
you
you
know
go.
what I mean? I could be like, hey guys, come play at my place, you know, like 20% discounting on touring bands or something like that. You know, like that was just like something like, because I remember like being on a tour and like stopping and, you know, you talk to people. It's like a hobo life almost, you know, like you as a band have like $200 and you gotta eat and survive, and it's like I understand, like, and all we would eat was just like the worst possible food, like garbage food. And so like the idea of eating at a place that I'm playing at that's like not like McDonald's, you know, like that was something that like kind of I wished more of. You know, like give me some lasagna before I play this gig. Like I don't want to eat a Big Mac anymore.
Yeah, I mean, some lasagna before a gig sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah.
So one more question that I like to ask all my guests when they come on the show: when you're gone, what do you want your legacy to be?
Oh, heavy hitter there. I don't know. I'd like to have a legacy of like, I don't know, like, who cares what I've done, you know, as long as I'm remembered in a way that, like, people liked me, you know, like, when they think of times with me that it overshines any bad times, you know, like, I don't know, like, I think about, like, my grandfather passed away, like, 2 years ago, and at the funeral, one person came up and said, you know, he was a man of silence, but he was also a man of great compassion. And it's like sometimes you never knew if he like liked you, you know. But like when the time came for him to show it, he showed it, you know. And that's something that I think about a lot. Is like I hope people think of me as like someone compassionate and someone that like I like to joke around, but I truly do like I care for people, and like you know I hope I can feed them, make them laugh, play some music, and enjoy, you know, like good times. It sounds really typical to say, but it's just kind of been a life motto.
Yeah, I mean, there you go. That's the hope and dream of you know, just making others happy. That's amazing to hear that you're really putting your personality first and trying to really just make others happy around you. So thanks so much for coming on The Verse, Chris. I really appreciate it. Would you like to shout out any social media accounts?
Yeah, follow me on social media. I should be at called_Chris, and on all things. Find me up. I'm Christo Turd on PlayStation Network. Come game with me. I'd love to game. Yeah, called_Chris, and let's reach out. Let's hang out. You know, let's have some fun.
Sounds good. And I'll link that in the description as well.
Awesome, sir.
So people can find you easier. So thanks so much to Chris Houp for coming on The Verse. We're going to close this one out with Watermelon Sugar. Thanks for watching.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Tastes like strawberries on a summer evening, and it sounds just like a song. I want more berries and that summer feeling. It's so wonderful and warm. Breathe me in, breathe me out. I don't know if I could ever go without. I'm just thinking out loud. I don't know if I could ever go without watermelon sugar high, watermelon sugar high, watermelon sugar high, watermelon sugar high.
2, 3, 4.
Strawberries on a summer evening. Baby, you're the end of June. I want your belly and that summer feeling getting washed away in you. Breathe me in, breathe me out. I don't know if I can ever go without watermelon sugar high, 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 watermelon sugar high. Strawberries on a summer evening, and it sounds just like a song. I want your belly and that summer feeling. I don't know if I could ever go without watermelon sugar high,